still progressing.
I was hoping that we would be finished.
I was too. We have a couple of issues. Let me tell you the good stuff. I went in front of the planning board, and we have temporary site approval.
You shared that, yep.
Also went in front of the Board of Health. We also have that signed off. We're waiting on a final acceptance because we have to give some final updated as-built dimensions for the inlets and exits.
Yep.
So we're very close to that. I don't know if anybody saw them, but I put a couple of postcards together. I don't think I ordered enough. We have a schedule for an open house on the 27th, and we've discussed it. Right now, we have some issues holding up the job. Most of them are caused by the HVAC general. We've been fighting with this gentleman for a very long time. He kept moving the field goal further every time we got up to it, as far as completion. Now we've been going back and forth for the last month, trying to get him to come back in over the last month, the last 6 weeks, trying to have them come and start up their equipment, factory come out. Continues to say he doesn't own parts of the project, which is false, and we've been showing him otherwise. As of today, I told him it was dire that we had some information. As of today, I still haven't received it, but we're supposed to be receiving a letter of action with dates on it. Hasn't come. Right now, what's going to hold us up to take occupancy is that the HVAC is all working and programmed, so that way, if there's ever a fire or whatnot, it kills the fans. So our control person's waiting, the factory startup rep is waiting, everybody's waiting on the HVAC guy to purchase a license and then finish doing his mechanical installation as well. That's going to be at least 2 weeks if he orders it. That's the major holdup. There are still details being worked on the site. We have the finished painting going on. We have some finished carpentry going on. We have furniture deliveries happening. The mech is going full tilt right now as they're built out. But we're not going to be able to receive any sort of occupancy, whether temporary or whatnot, until the HVAC is figured out. There's been a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls, not all pleasant, and until he gets in gear, we're stuck. So, as soon as we receive the license, which hopefully he'll do, we're going to be able to move on. Mike's put together about a 20-page punch list, room by room, trade by trade per room. They're going through them now. Appliances just showed up today. It's all coming in, but there's still probably a solid 2 weeks worth of work to be done with everybody coming and finalizing all their information. The elevator is trying to get that so we can have that in full operation. That's supposed to be happening next week, so once we have all the furniture, everything up to the second floor, it will finally then have the elevator to work, so we carried it all for in vain, but we're getting there.
Could I ask again?
Sure, absolutely.
Cliff note interpretation of what you just said.
If everything goes well, 2 weeks.
Let me see if I've got it right. All right, so we've got 2 weeks left of basically punch list work, give or take a day or two. And then that part is done. The building is pretty much ready to go. HVAC is 2 weeks away.
Once he gets us the licenses.
All right, and when he's going to go, do we have a commitment as to when he's going to go for his licenses?
After conversations earlier with the architect and Matt, I have a backup plan in place right now.
Okay.
If I don't get the phone call that I'm looking for by 5 o'clock, we'll have somebody else get the licenses.
Okay. Thank you, Mike, for that. And so then it's 2 weeks from that date?
Minimal.
I wouldn't say 2 weeks from that date. Once there's certain components that are in, we get the startup guys back. Right now, the system works. We need to be able to have the site communicate with Matt at his office. Until that happens, the system won't be fully functional.
Okay. So,
But the system at the building can operate. It just won't operate remotely from Matt.
Well,
And he's in control of the building, so he won't be able to do it from somewhere else if something has to be adjusted.
Okay, so, and thank you. So let's say you use your backup plan, just for sake of argument. So we get the license. What's the time frame, in your opinion, understanding it's your best guess, but it ought to be narrowed, I would think, that all of this will get done?
the person who's in charge of it, putting it together, said it's minimum of 5 business days to put all the work together. But it's more than just remotely operating it. It also has to time in the fire alarm with the fans, and it has to be able to completely show. It's not just for me to access it remotely. It's more to it. It's the whole program has to be.
So I'm just
But minimum of a week once they have the license. But then we still have to have it final tested.
Okay, so that's all I'm trying to figure out. So at the outside, we might be 3 weeks away. At the outside,
On the very outside.
very outside.
Very outside.
So maybe in 2 weeks, if all goes well, we'll be ready to go.
Yeah, after today's fiasco, that's it. If we have to pull in other forces, that's what's gonna happen. We just have no more time for it.
Okay. So we're
Nonsense.
2.5 weeks away from getting this all done.
It opens us up to more liability against the contractor because we're not going to give him the full time if we have to, and then he can go after us.
We'll deal with that later.
We'll deal with it, just right now. Let's get out. And,
You. Let's get in.
So,
Doesn't sound like this contractor's gonna have a whole lot to stand on based on his performance, so.
yeah, there's a lot of smoke being blown.
Okay, so 2 to 3 weeks we're in with a little bit of luck.
Yep,
and then we also have to have Mr. Bullock go through and give his okay, which his job is to make sure it's all done safely for life safety. So that's have to time him there as well. But as far as site work, as far as Board of Health, we have their blessings to go ahead. So now it's down to the building commissioner once
Right.
these topics are done.
Hallelujah.
Plumbing and electrical?
Plumbing, the electrical is just about done. There's a issue with the generator still. It's a change order. We're waiting on that to happen, but we have generator power, so the elevator can get tested, so we can have that.
we spoke to the elevator company last night. They're right with us. So when we need them, they'll be right there.
So there's a couple of, there's items that need to be finished, but
So electrical's not signed off yet.
not the finish.
Finish, right. And plumbing, finish?
I believe that is signed off,
Signed off, all right, good.
so, but,
Super.
And we have, most of our engineers have been through. They just have to come for their final. And Brian calls them. And Brian took the time today to do his punch list, which is a huge help. Once I get that, they'll tie it together.
So, now when do you start moving? If this time frame holds, when do you, how does your transition work?
Not first, so we're talking about, say, 3 weeks. We could start moving over there right after we get occupancy.
And when will you be operational there, do you think? You
There's
shooting for
other
April
issues.
1st?
There's still some hurdles with that. You have to have computers, phones, and all that, but
Yeah. But you're shooting for April 1st? Or not?
that's the goal, that for everybody to be
Yeah.
there by
Well, but
then.
the dispatch may be different than you, I guess. Possibly you could be different. Yeah, okay.
I mean, that's the goal, to get in there as quick as possible.
Dispatch is holding to April 1st.
Yeah. It's one way or another,
They're gonna
do
open April
extra
1st no
duty
matter what,
training.
right?
Well, assuming we have occupancy,
Yeah.
you need that
All
first.
minor detail. They might go in anyway.
Thursday and Friday, they asked for final clean.
Okay.
They wanted it Thursday and Friday.
So with a little luck, we're 5 weeks away from being done.
Yeah.
I didn't think I'd ever hear that.
All right, Matt, what else?
a lot of hurdles got crossed off. We had a problem with the generator for ours. That was resolved. Been doing a lot of checking off boxes of things that were holding us up, so again, we still have a punch list that has to be gone through, but the major hurdle, once we have the HVAC, I feel very comfortable that we'll be able to take occupancy. I'm sure Brian can weigh in, but
I did a punch list today on the main floor, and there's always comments, but most of my comments are just aesthetic. There's nothing really on a major line that's holding anything up. So it's mostly just cosmetic items, aesthetic items, paint touch-up, final cleaning, things that are obvious, anybody walking through. So I'm feeling pretty confident about your April 1 date. I'm also coordinating Department of Public Health inspections for the cells. So that's going to be happening once the contractors do a couple more items in the cells. We can schedule Department of Public Health. And that, for me, is usually about a 7 to 10 day turnaround from when I ask for an inspection.
Brian, both the deputy and I want to be there for that inspection.
I'll let you know.
Okay.
All right.
we've had some security issues come up that we've had to address as far as some revisions that we had a couple of change orders with the security system to make sure we ended up finding some blind spots that we couldn't have in the cell area. So we've added a couple cameras and we've given a couple of remote location accesses so they can actually see what's going on, so they can operate, not just down there. So done a couple of change orders to keep that going. Ron has been working diligently on the phone system. We've been on conference calls. We're continuing to do conference calls. We're having, in case anybody ever wanted to know, Norfolk is actually fed from 2 different towns. So if it depends where you're at, depends which Verizon you belong to, and they don't talk to each other for free. In case you ever wanted to know that.
What?
Yeah. We're 117 is fed out of Verizon Millis, and 14 Sharon Ave is fed out of Verizon Rentham, and those two, even though they're both Verizon, they don't let each other talk to each other for free. There's a little fee involved, which makes no sense, but there is. So we've been trying to minimize the cost exposure on that, but we've been working, trying to iron out all the details.
Are you serious?
Yes. Yes. $80 a month it's going to cost for the phones to talk to each other.
That's outrageous.
Wild. So, and that was way down. But we've been working on that. Tom's been working on getting the new, all the new equipment up and running. I know he's tested the network and the fiber. That's up and running, which is a big hurdle. Working on getting some workstations rolled out. I think the police have been trying out some of the new ones at the current 117 to make sure everything will work on the newer computer equipment, because they've been working off the stuff from the early 2000s and some of it, so making sure the old programs work on new computers. So there's been a lot of different steps going on right now. So we're, again, very close. Just truly need that HVAC done. I have no idea what kind of turnout we're going to have for the open house. I've talked to John Prempis of, he owns a couple of Dunkin' Donuts. He's going to try to, once we get within a week, see if Dunkin' Donuts corporate will maybe potentially donate materials, if that's okay with the committee. I said I had to check with you guys for coffee
If
and
they
donuts.
donate, is that okay? Let me think about it.
He would want to be there and put his
Absolutely.
name somewhere, but
Sure.
I think, I said I don't see an issue with that, but I'd have to run it by the board.
No.
He's not guaranteeing it, but figured get 10 gallons of coffee and a couple of boxes of Joe of decaf and start from that.
Maybe the 1%.
Let's see. So that's pretty much where we're sitting at 14 Sharon Ave.
Okay.
Hopefully the next time we meet, we will be in there and frustration levels down.
Could we get the Knox box installed? And the reason I asked that is we had a false alarm down there during the business day last week. So I'm just concerned because now that we have the system being monitored, at least for fire situations, if we go down there after hours, we certainly don't want,
Chief, that Knox box has been in a long time.
that shows you how
It's in the
observant
block.
I am. Okay, can we get arrangements to get electronic keys or whatever?
Sure.
I'll talk to you, we'll lock this up after the meeting. Thank you.
Just to let you guys know what that was about is we have, it's a self-monitoring building, but right now, the sprinkler system's live in there, and there's not somebody there 24 hours a day. So a way to keep us so we're compliant and the building's being maintained is a safety signal. We put in a temporary calling system. So if there's a problem down there presently, until the MEC goes live and we're fully set up, we have an alarm system working down there. Big thank you to Safe Signal. I haven't seen their invoice, but they dropped everything, came right down, and they've done a great job, and I'm sure they'll be a reasonable price. So, again, we're in good shape right now, I hope, for the April 1st, but still a little scary.
You seem much calmer today.
Adderall.
Adderall?
Drinking.
You weren't around at 6 o'clock.
I figured that's why you got the puppy.
Oh, he started getting a lot of phone calls already. Yeah, no, this is, we've been having fun with some of the subs. The
I know
flooring
you-
contractor's been really difficult. We've had a lot of people don't want to finish up, and trying to get them to come back, and it's been interesting, so. But we have a backup plan, so hopefully we can get it done right away and be successful to move in.
Fire station.
Yeah, before we get on to the fire station, do you have anything to add?
But we did hand out a summary, change order summary for both Norfolk Police and the MEC. Most of the items are on the back of the sheet, not pertaining to Norfolk Police, but for MEC items that are pending change orders. The change order summary for this month cleans up a lot of things that have been out for a couple months, and it's a lower number because C46R was a credit to install lightning protection. Norfolk has decided to pay that subcontractor directly. So there was a previous change order that had added that amount to BC's contract. We're now deducting that amount out of their contract. So that's a credit that's factored into that. The credit for furnishing and installing the soap dispensers is the fact that the town is providing soap dispensers instead of the contractor.
So you need a motion to approve?
These are the ones for this month that would clean those all up, yes.
I'll move to approve change order summary, sum of $9,605.39.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it's unanimous.
For voting on stuff, why don't we vote on the current monthly requisition, which is application number 19, in the amount of $318,000, 380.40 cents.
Say it again?
318, 380, 40 cents.
One more time.
$318,000,
Yep.
$380.40.
This is the monthly?
Yes.
Yes.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Again, any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Unanimous. That wrap up the police station business?
Yes, sir.
Okay, on to the fire station.
You want to talk about the meeting?
Sure. Coming July 1st, we will have a new fire chief, Mr. Kuchek. Congratulations. I've known Peter forever, and I think he's going to do a great job, and he's going to be great for the town. We all know that this project has run over budget and has taken some of the funds we had planned on using in the fire station, so we sat down with Peter, Jim and I the other day, and we said, you know, we need to downsize some of this building to get it back into budget. And my understanding is Peter has worked diligently and has cut some of the size of the building down. So you want to go over what you have, Peter?
I don't know how you got it down to 3,000 square feet. I just don't know how you did that.
I don't know if I would necessarily say that at this point. There's got to be a couple disclaimers here.
Thank you.
One is that I'm not an architect. I'll give you the original.
Close enough.
Thank you, Chief.
All right.
Is this a better version?
Do you want me to add it to?
Probably.
Here, Chief.
If he doesn't have any extras.
Yeah, I
Or
can
if you
send you
want
one.
to add it to mine, I don't care how you do it.
I'll do it separate.
All right, because that way, I know it's the architect's going to-
Yeah, I'll type it up.
I don't get color? All right, thanks.
There's only one.
You have an extra, Peter?
That's Tony Roberto's called me a couple of times. He's working diligently
don't
on
wanna
getting that
argue.
number.
Yeah, I want
George,
Yes,
be okay if you sat here at the microphone?
absolutely. You,
I'm Peter, you're hired.
yeah.
Sit next to Todd.
The chair.
This one
Either
okay?
chair, yeah.
This one okay?
Step right up to the mic.
I'm having trouble following where the changes are.
Well,
There isn't really any yet, so.
We
Oh,
just
okay. So you're
gonna
gonna walk us
discuss
through
the
That's why there
yes.
was disclaimers.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I think, just in meeting, with Jim and George the other day,
Yep.
one of the discussion was obviously trying to narrow down the square footage.
Yep.
And trying to match that square footage with what
The
potentially
need-
is
right,
there
the
for
needs of the
available money.
department, yep.
Well, that, but also what the available money is.
Right.
Maybe we're working backwards here, but at the same time,
Yep.
we got a lot of moving parts with this. So I think one of the discussions with George was, trying to square the building off.
Yep.
So, in kind of thinking along those lines, is there a potential to maybe look at this as going back to a single-story structure versus trying to do the two stories? Squaring that building off, going with one floor, and then Cole and I get a chance to just talk real quick with Brian this afternoon
Okay.
about what's the potential for trying to design what we need within that square footage that we're allowing.
Okay.
With a couple things in mind. One is that we're looking at losing both staircases. So you're
Right.
talking about square footage, first floor, second floor.
Yep, sure.
We're probably building out the footprint a little bit. We're going to have a little additional cost, I would think, on
Yeah.
maybe slab and
Sure,
and
yep.
foundation.
Yep, yep.
And then the other side to it is rotating it back to the front.
Okay.
So that if you're looking at this in the right way where it says front, the apparatus bays are going to come back out towards the front of Main Street.
Correct.
And again, we may incur a little bit of cost trying to kind of redesign that front of the apparatus section because we may need to dress that up a little bit. Whereas where we were talking before, we were going to kind of hide that in the rear. That could be strictly block. We may have to add some brick on the facade just to dress that up a little bit. And again, some of the things that, we talked about the other day, which were some of the priorities, were obviously a training room. We were looking at definitely having a physical fitness area, but there was a lot of discussion from our guys about maybe putting that on the mezzanine, if that's possible. And I think the staff all agreed that 5 bunk rooms was definitely something we wanted to do. And I think, nobody was in favor of trying to cut apparatus space.
Right.
So again, I think we're looking at, with those being the main priorities, how do we squeeze everything in? Again, talking to Brian a little bit today, we were looking at the sizes of, some of the administrative offices could be reduced. We certainly, that's something we can look at. But again, I think this just gives us the ability to maybe sit down with Brian and try to squeeze in the things that we want within this footprint. And again, if you're looking at the square footage, and again, for my calculations, and again, they may be somewhat off, only trying to figure out the scale, which was at the bottom of this, we're looking at potentially a 150-foot by 92-foot building, which gives us potentially, if you add the second floor of the mezzanine, which is another almost 1,400 square feet,
Right.
you're looking at about a 15,000 square foot building. And if we're looking at $350 a square foot, we're in the 5.3 vicinity. But again, as we look to try to reduce, if we can try to get what we need within this footprint, potentially you're looking at 140 by a 92-foot building, you're down to 14,200 square feet, you're right around a $5 million building. So again, obviously, as we, try to piece all this together, which is the things we talked about, trying to, reduce square footage and then try to manage it within what we have, at least initially, maybe it gives us an idea of where we can be, to get kind of give us a baseline, I guess. So again, this doesn't, include all the different designs of the different sizes of everything other than, what our real priorities would be. And obviously, we need administrative space, and Chief and I have both agreed that we certainly don't think we need, massive offices, so we can do some reducing in that fashion. So again, this doesn't, I don't think, look at it in a specific, it's a very conceptual, rough draft thing, but at least it maybe gives us some kind of a footprint to at least start by, and then see what we can fit within this. And again, thinking that, from our perspective, we also thought that, trying to redesign this or trying to fit everything would be a lot easier on just on one floor versus on two floors. So I don't know if I've kind of covered anything. Mike, is there anything else?
You agree with that, Brian?
Yeah, the challenge is to make something that's aesthetic for
Yeah.
downtown too. This is
Yes.
right in your downtown area, so.
Yep.
And you could build it with cost savings, but you also have to think about what it's gonna look like from the outside. So you want still maintenance-free materials, whether it's brick or whether it's another type of siding. I do want to get the end result to be something that you're all proud of and find attractive. Going to a one-story does eliminate the vertical circulation, but now you have a taller bay next to a one-story office space. So that's a little more challenging, I think, aesthetically with what it's going to look like and how it's going to appear on the street. But you could be right, it could be a few less dollars per square foot. So there's still a challenge of getting overall square footage down is directly relating to saving money, though. You can reduce square footage, you reduce the cost of the project. That's directly related. Now it's how to reduce square footage and still get it within your budget. Now you're at a dollars per square foot challenge in trying to make something that's aesthetic for that dollars per square foot. So, yeah, it's still a challenge, but I think if you want me to look at revising the floor plan, that's something we can take on.
Yeah, I think, you and Peter should sit down together and revise the floor plan. Now, is it cheaper to go wood construction?
There's different thinking on that. Wood construction in non-prevailing wage projects is definitely cheaper. When you're in a prevailing wage rate job, you're looking to reduce labor, on-site labor. So what they're looking to do if you went wood is a lot of contractors would panelize that project, meaning they'd build wall structures off-site. They'd load them onto a truck and they'd bring them to the site, so they're already built and they just stand them up and connect them. So it's wood construction, but it's gone to more of a panelized. You're not going to see framers out there putting studs together because it's very labor intensive in a prevailing wage market. So you could do it with wood. You're going to probably get into that panelized wall construction. Wood roof trusses are pretty economical.
Okay, I understand what you said, but I'm a little confused when you say cheaper or a lot, whatever. Is there a disadvantage to having it panelized? I mean, what difference would that make in terms of the building? Whether they build a panel off-site and bring it in versus actually construct the panel while they're there?
Well, that's how they are addressing wood frame construction now in a municipal market.
That doesn't make it less effective.
No, you still have to build in all your seismic requirements and all your load requirements in the wood.
And it doesn't cost more to build it off-site and bring it in versus, in fact, I would think it would cost less
Versus
doing it
steel
on-site.
frame, which goes up quickly, and then metal stud infill, which is non-structural, which also goes together quickly. May give you a better final product.
And what type of roof were you planning on over the bays?
It was planning on flat roof.
Flat roof? Is using trusses with a pitched roof cheaper or the same, or
It would increase costs,
it would increase the cost?
yeah, because you're increasing the volume up there above the base.
Right.
You could do a parapet wall, you can do something decorative around the edges. They say
I may be wrong, but isn't the station that's in the center of Franklin like that? Bays on the front, on the left, and the administrative piece directly to the right with a pitched roof on the right-hand side and the administrative
They
part?
cantilevered all the interior. So what they did was cantilever to capture natural light, illuminate the bays, so you got the system going up and down in that arrangement.
they did it on the roof.
Yes. Can't see from the street because of the parapet.
Yeah.
But that, in essence, is what this potentially would look like, right?
Like Brian said, I mean, it's either gonna look like a 60s or it's gonna look like an 1860s construction. I think when you're done, at least I visualize it. You know, the 1860s, it'll have the look, you know, probably, if we could get it in there, bring back the arched doorways for those 4 bays out front, parapet wallet, and then the administrative end of the building. I mean, you're gonna have the drop-off in elevation, but, you know, if you dressed at least the front part of the administration portion facing Main Street, you'd probably accomplish and pull that off. Even if it ended up going in brick construction, just in that area, perhaps.
Jim, I have Franklin Fire Station here if you wanted to see it.
Yeah, am I wrong, Mike? Isn't that what it looks like?
It's got a regular roof on it.
Oh, yeah, it does. Yeah. This is the part I was talking about, yeah.
Brian, you discussed
That
that flat roof,
conceptually,
and the
except
one
for the
problem
roof
we've
design, is
had
what we're talking
since
about here.
1960,
not a flat
whatever.
roof, though.
I know that,
Building
I
is
said with the
correct
exception of the
from
roof design, that's exactly.
But that's a two-story.
Leakage to the flat roof. Well, it's gotta be somehow pitched.
I say flat roof, but it does have a pitch on it to floor drains. Those roof structures are coming with a 30-year warranty. That's what you would get, a warranty on it for 30 years. If you keep equipment off of it, it's better. You don't have less penetrations.
Like air conditioning,
Right.
Yeah,
which is what one of our issues is now,
yeah.
along with holes in the roof.
The mechanical units. But it's cost effective.
My only concern, we've dealt with leaks they're pouring through the fire department now,
Yep.
you know, with some of our buildings, so.
Yep. It's a big volume to try to put a pitch on and then collect water at the perimeters.
That would be my target.
Yep. All right, when can you guys get together? And I wouldn't.
Yeah, and I mean, I would suggest, you know, between the chief and I and, you know, a lot of the staff, if there's a chance we could sit down and kind of work with Ryan to see what we can come up with conceptually with regards to space and,
All right.
you know, knowing what the needs are and what the priorities are. I think that would be, you know, advantageous. if you guys
And I'll
are
have to come
agreeable.
back up. I have to do a punch list on the mech floor. So we can arrange that.
So we can do it quickly?
Great.
It would have to be within a month because
Would you and I
April
want to sit
1st is
down?
coming up fast.
If you could.
Yeah. Yeah.
Could we join you in that?
Absolutely.
Let us know when you're gonna do it.
Yeah.
We'll see if we can't join in.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Not that we have any constructive input, but you
Like I
never
said,
know.
this is pretty rough draft stuff here.
Yeah, that's all right.
You be
No, but
available,
we sincerely appreciate your effort,
Yes.
Peter, to.
be available next Tuesday, a week from today?
Yeah, we can make that happen.
And then we could do both. I could,
What are you looking at for time, Brian?
1 o'clock.
Oh,
That's the 5th?
1 o'clock on the 5th?
I'm working, so.
1 o'clock it is.
1 o'clock it is, next, on the 5th.
And we'll meet,
Where do you
Here.
want to? Meet here?
be here.
That's fine. That's fine with you, Jeff?
Sure.
Okay. Meet here.
Do you have the calendar?
Let me see if this room is available, or any room.
Well, we can always go up to the conference room upstairs if we have to, so. We'll find a room.
Yeah. Yeah, because we want to get this project going.
We
So
do.
we need a final design here. Let's
And then I
move
could go
forward.
over to the mech for a punch list.
Okay.
You know, I guess just too, you know, is there any concern with the rotation on this, with the footprint sitting on the lot? I mean, I
I don't have any concern.
kind of
No,
gone back and forth, right?
Can you like point this in the right direction?
Yeah.
Which way is it supposed to?
Or it says front.
The bays to the right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Originally, this was the front.
Right.
This is the front.
correct.
Yeah.
So that would be Main Street right there.
Yeah.
And so the officers will be on the left side, looking at it from the street.
You could go either way.
Go either way, but
Setting a motion.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm only thinking the way the center works these days, You want your apparatus floor away from the center,
Yeah,
and not as opposed to close down the church.
yeah, and I think with this, it
Yeah, you
doesn't,
could flip it either way.
doesn't matter probably.
Yeah, that makes
Right.
sense,
Sure you
yeah.
could, but
right.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Position.
Okay.
Here's the right way. You're looking at the numbers.
No, no. Flip it.
Okay, so,
Okay.
anything else?
Peter, thank you.
I have a request.
Yes.
When this gets built, I'll be long gone. I'll be a distant memory, and I
You will never be a distant memory.
I have an ask of the committee. One of the few times I'm going to use the I word that I was involved in this.
Before you say a word, can I stop you?
No,
Please,
no,
please, because I know what you're going to say.
no, I get to do this.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to do it for you.
No, I'm
Okay.
good. I would like to have some type of recognition as being part of the process for the facility.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
I would like to make a motion for the record
Okay.
that the final plaque that rests on this building include Chief Cole's name.
Second?
second, yes.
I would agree with that. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous.
Just-
How long you been working on this?
15 years.
Since the beginning, 15 years.
All right.
We've also, just so you guys are aware, we've started talks with the fire department, the DPW, police
Oh,
department, as far as what
relocation.
will happen and what needs to happen.
Yeah.
Kind of have a high level of understanding. DPW was going to get some pricing on some capital requests and come up with their scheme, and it's gonna be a lot of moving parts to make relocation happen.
Yeah.
Are there any zoning issues with putting any temporary facilities back there?
Good question.
I do not know that answer,
We better check that out.
but as far as looking at communications, as far as housing, logistics, current DPW, their garage, what would have to happen, kind of doing big picture, it's in the works. But just,
Just check out, because of the location of the DPW, I know we can house the trucks inside and all of that, but if we're going to do anything outside, and I know we're planning on doing that, we just need to make sure that, one, zoning, or there are no pre-existing orders from any boards that have any restrictions or anything of that nature. We get surprised by that kind of stuff that we just don't remember because it happened 30 years ago or something.
I will look into that, report back to you.
Okay.
Any other business?
One other question on this
Yep.
new building, Pete, and Cole, is this raising the present building?
Yes.
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 Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Just make sure it was still there.
Yeah. You agree with that?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I couldn't agree more. So we're gonna tear down.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's all the apparatus parked in the DPW.
Oh, so you've already done it?
Yeah, we did a dry run.
Super.
So,
Everything
we
fits.
don't
Everything fits.
purchase
It
any
leaves
more
them with
buckets
40
to put
feet on
rainwater.
the back side that they can still get
Still
stuff
get
in.
some trucks in.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
No, let's go.
And the doors are okay, in and out?
Yeah, yeah, we can do it.
So then it's just a matter of the administration and the communication and
Yep.
all that stuff? Okay. That's good news, too.
Yep.
Mr. McGee's been terrific.
Very much so, yes.
Okay, since there's no new business, so, and there isn't, when's our next meeting?
Oh,
I'm in favor of moving as quickly along as we can. If they move, you're meeting on Tuesday of next week?
March 1st for the fire department design review.
And then how long will it,
March
5th.
5th.
Fifth.
Fifth.
So how long then will it take you to get something back to us where we can start making some decisions? March 6th work?
At 8 o'clock
AM.
AM.
He almost left.
What's that?
last meeting minutes, if you could make a motion to approve those.
I'm always figuring out, why don't you make a motion to accept
Well,
those minutes?
let me read it real quick.
All right. Say Jim Lehan will personally cover any overages on the.
No, I think it says George Cronin. Will supply supplying 2 years of free oil, all of the generators.
That's why we're going gas.
What were you thinking for a date?
Well, I was thinking 2 weeks, but then I have a vacation on that day.
We canceled it.
We could go to the 20th, which is a Wednesday. I know you like to stay on Tuesdays.
Any day, doesn't matter.
Wednesday, the 20th?
Wednesday, 20th, that probably works, yeah. What time?
Earlier the better.
You pick the time. Any time from 8 o'clock on.
3 o'clock?
Okay, well,
That's not early.
no, it's,
Well, you're usually at 4, so I went to 3.
yeah, let's call it 3 o'clock
Okay.
on the 20th. Okay. Reviewing those minutes, let's get those accepted.
Yeah,
before we-
I move to approve the minutes as of January 22nd, 2019.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it's unanimous. That clear up any business for this meeting, Matt?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
For a second? Second. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned.
You can make a